Hello, hi everyone. Welcome to another Experience Matters show. Thank you all for joining. We have Anuj Agrawal on the show today with us. Thank you, Anuj, for joining. I think before this call, I was doing the math. We worked together on CX project for BFSI clients, and that was almost a decade ago. it's
Yes.
it's been a decade. I don't know how time flies, right?
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks, Shivani, for inviting me.
yeah.
It's really pleasure
For
being here.
it is great, and I'm so glad you could take the time to join us. Just an expert in digital transformation strategy, right? It's going to be a really good show. For everyone who's joined the call, let me do a quick introduction, right? And I'm going to read this out here. So, Anuj has over 15 years of experience in research and consulting. He's a digital transformation expert and has worked on multiple projects from understanding changing consumer demands and preferences, mapping technology trends and related predictions, consulting on business models and new practices in the banking domain. In his previous role, he was a pioneer analyst in APAC on thought leadership on open banking, covering topics such as open banking readiness for APAC banks and countries and the best practices around open banking. Right. So he's also led consulting projects related to digital transformation, IT platform implementations, assisting clients and with business models and best practices backed by market intelligence. So a really power packed history there, Anuj. The 10 years you've just uh, really been focusing on digital transformation, working with clients across APAC, right? It's phenomenal.
Hey, thanks. It's good to hear about yourself, right? I just realized,
Yeah.
okay, I've done all this. Like, great.
When you actually start noting it down, it's actually longer than what you think it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
But
Thanks. Thanks for the
really,
wonderful introduction.
yeah, really appreciate you taking the time and so happy that you can join us on the call today. The focus of today's show for everyone who's joined, our goal here is to talk about digital transformation, right? So DX, it's a fairly broad topic. The goal for today's show is to break it down for you. What really goes into digital transformation for an organization? How has the pandemic really pushed DX for all of these large organizations? What is the key role that CX plays, right? So on this show, we talk about CX, we talk about market research. So what is that role that CX plays in digital transformation? So uh, that's the goal. If you have any questions, we do have an expert, right, on the call. So if you have any questions, please feel free to add it in the comment box. We will take it up. We'll be happy to answer live on the show, or we will get back to you. In the comment section, we can also email you and help answer those questions for you and your organization. Okay, Anuj, shall we kick this out?
Yeah,
So
sure. All set.
yes, starting off, what is digital transformation? What falls under this broad umbrella that is DX?
Okay. So, if you really ask me, digital transformation has been a keyword, right, across industries. And
Hmm.
not now, it has been there for decades, right? We have been talking about
Yeah,
how technology is going to change our lives, and we
yeah,
have seen those changes in our lives definitely, right?
mm,
With emergence of e-commerce, IT giants like Google, Amazon, Netflix, and all, they have transformed the our experience, right, as a customer.
yeah,
What do you
mm,
expect, not only from organization which is delivering it, but also
mm,
from cross organizations which with whom we are interacting, right?
yeah,
If I could take an instance, right, if you have a great experience with Google,
mm,
uh, in terms of whatever you are interacting with, say Google Pay, for example, in the
yeah,
banking industry, right? The how they have made this entire transaction with UPI very smooth, right? You expect
mm,
a similar frictionless experience even from a banking industry, because ultimately
yeah,
you categorize entire banking into one industry, right? Similarly, e-commerce, the way we
mm,
experience our everyday life, right? Buying and selling, how it has transformed. Uh,
yeah,
E-commerce, how it
mm,
has become very convenient and easy for us to select 10 products, try at home, and deliver or return whatever we don't need, right? It was
yeah,
never
yeah,
before. It was never there before, right? And
yeah,
pandemic and everything else during last few years have further fueled, made people comfortable with the technology. And
yeah,
that is
yeah,
what has actually made all the organizations to relook or revisit their
Mm.
strategy to see if
Yeah.
we are doing the right way,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Are we
Yeah.
using the right technology?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't even remember the last time you see you mentioned e-commerce. I don't even remember the last time I went to a store, whether it was for fruits and vegetables. We've just, the whole way in which is unheard of for, my parents' generation and my in-laws. They just can't even imagine how for nothing do I go to a store, right?
Yeah.
Between Dan's or Swiggy, it's just changed the way we work and way we go about everyday day-to-day activities. Yeah.
Yeah, you got a good point. Interestingly, our parents, right, or
Mm.
our grandparents or parents, they were not they were comfortable before pandemic, right? They were never
Yeah.
comfortable with technology so much, whether it's banking or non-banking or e-commerce. Now,
Hmm.
even they end up asking you, why did you order it online, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
you need a pack of milk? Yeah, please order it
Yeah.
online. No, it will come in 5 minutes. Why
Yeah.
you have to go there, right?
Yeah.
So the how the
Yeah.
conversation has changed from me, I will go and pick it up from the market, looking at the
Yeah.
quality.
Mm.
Rather, I will say, let's order it online because I'm
Yeah.
sure the quality will be good. Okay.
Yeah.
So that assurance of quality is of course important, which has
Mm.
made people move to a non-traditional way of consuming
Hmm.
products and services, right? So
Got
that
it.
is
Yeah.
phenomenal. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Uh,
with this, yeah, so it has to include not only, the actual technology in which the company uses. It has to include how the employees behave, how your, those different channels that they open up for your different customers. What are those different aspects that an organization will need to look at, right, to make this transformation?
Let me share something with you so that
Yeah.
everybody who is listening, right, can actually visualize what we're going to talk about. Okay, let me share some data about this. Okay, give me a second. Let me just prepare it. Okay, is the screen visible?
Not yet. Let me just add it to the screen. Yes, it is. Yeah.
It is, right. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Okay. So if you see this slide, right, this very beautifully crafts what
Mm.
our digital transformation in itself is, right? Digital transformation is not about technology, which
Mm.
lot of organizations think, right? If I adapt to say RPA, if I automate my processes, or if I move to blockchain, adapt blockchain, or maybe I move to cloud, then I will transform
Yeah.
my organization and I will
Mm-hmm.
be truly digital. That's not the
Mm-hmm.
case. If you really see these five elements right in the center
Yeah.
are the key crux of what a true digital transformation is to the industry.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mm,
It doesn't
mm,
start with technology. If you see the technology is coming on the fourth, it starts
yeah.
with a right strategy, a
Mm,
right culture, which enables digitalization of the organization, right?
mm,
Which defines the importance of digitalization in the industry or
yeah.
in the organization you're focusing on, right? What I have observed in the past working with multiple organizations is a lot of organizations take digitization of a service as a priority. Okay, let
Mm,
me fix my branch, or
mm,
probably my a lot of my example will be from banking industry because I've
mm-hmm.
been working throughout quite many years for a banking clients financial services. So a lot of organizations are taking some of the processes which they think is a problematic and then start building strategy around that
Mm,
rather than looking at the overall strategy, how that entire piece of digital business case is
mm,
becoming a part of a strategy or a culture which organization need to look at.
yeah.
Then followed by a staff or a customer engagement. Because if you are building a strategy without looking at how it is going to impact my employee, my customer, it is
Mm,
not going to yield you a result which you are looking at. A lot of
yeah.
organizations look at from a customer perspective only. Why customer perspective is very important, but am I enabling my employees or my staff or my stakeholders, enablers, to deliver to that experience which I have envisioned is something very important, right? And if it is not there, then you will see a lot of resistance being there. I'm sure when you are measuring customer satisfaction uh, by your organization, right? You might have
Mm-hmm.
observed where organization is surprised by the results you
Mm,
throw out to them, right? Post the surveys or analysis
yeah.
that surprise comes in because they are not measuring. that experience, that engagement throughout during the
Yeah.
implementation phase. Okay. Then comes to a third element, which is say process or innovation, because you can train your employees, you can look at the customer journeys, you can define the customer strategy and everything, right? But without
Mm.
relooking into the processes, uh, without relooking how can I innovate, right? How can I provide
Yeah.
a minimum experience to the customer? How can I
Mm.
provide a truly digital experience which removes all the frictions on the journey? It's half battle win.
Mm. Got it.
And then what you mentioned about right technology, you made the right point of saying that technology just plays a one role in that aspect of digital transformation.
Yeah.
Technology in itself is not a differentiator. Technology is
Mm-hmm.
just an enabler in in
Mm-hmm.
the journey. You can decide to work with four technologies at the same time to enable one process journey, right? One customer journey.
Yeah.
Or you can have a same old technologies without implementing anything new, and still
Mm.
re-engineering your processes to remove the frictions, right?
Yeah.
By very simple steps. So technologies only enables you to deliver to the experience only after you
Yeah.
know what experience you want to deliver, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's money.
Yeah.
Money is spent
Yeah.
without any results. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And the last element, which probably I will focus on, is data and analytics, right?
Mm.
So when we do any digital transformation, right, we generate a lot of data, which is
Mm-hmm.
which has a lot of digital signatures, right, of customers
Mm-hmm.
aspects, right. You collect data when you transform your customers to a digital platforms, right. You get a lot of data which was never there with a bank or any other industry, any other organization.
Yeah.
Okay. And how this data you use, right? How you use it to improve your top line, bottom line, how you use it
Mm.
meet needs of unserved or underserved customers, right? How you
Yeah.
plan to upsell or cross sell, right?
Got it.
Without
Mm.
that, this transformation will not be able to deliver a true value to the
Yeah.
organization. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's how
Yeah. Yeah.
summarize transformation to any organization, right? Not to look
Mm.
at a technology as a key enabler, rather technology is just
Just
one of
one.
the
Mm-hmm.
element, right, to
Yeah.
deliver the
Yeah.
experience.
So it is that that's just based on these five itself. Each of those five can be broken down, and it's a long process for each one, right? To get each one of them up and running and to have them finalized. So, for example, your business strategy and culture, it's not something that can be built out or decided in a week. The whole thing is going to take time. You can't have digital transformation in a couple of months or a year, right? How do you is it going to be constantly ongoing? Is there, with all of the clients that you work with, do they have timelines? Like what is the timeline for all of this?
See, it totally depends on the maturity of our organization, right? While I will probably will discuss at length
Yeah.
in this conversation itself, but I think it all depends on the maturity of the organization.
Yeah.
Uh, if the organization had never spent in technology for a very long, right, and it's only
Mm,
recently they have started looking into the process to be digitized and all, then obviously
mm,
the strategy and the culture and the staff and customer engagement becomes a first priority for them, right?
yeah.
Whereas for an organization which has already defined their strategy, right, for next
Mm,
5 years, and they have fixed the culture, so for them it will be
mm,
different timelines. So the
mm-hmm.
timelines of engagement, right, of transformation, totally depends on how ready am I, and
Yeah.
and that is something which organization lot of many times fails to answer. While they will
Mm,
say, no, we have spent a lot in last 5 years,
yeah.
we have digitized our 10 processes,
Mm-hmm.
our customer satisfaction score has gone up from X to Y, right, by 5 points and all. But
Yeah.
are we looking at incremental of 5%? Are we looking at a customer experience or engagement at 100 on 100 on 100, right?
Yeah.
Something we need to
Mm,
ask. Moving from 40 to 50 is not a commendable job.
mm,
Whereas
mm,
moving from 90 to 95 and then from 95 to 99
yeah.
is something commendable.
True. Mm.
And that
And
can only
yeah.
be defined once you
Mm.
understand where you are right now and then you fix all these five elements to your journey.
Absolutely. And you can build out this 5-year plan, and then COVID comes along and throws a wrench in all of the plans, right? Either you need to change is constant, right? We had on our previous show, we had one of our guests who were just talking about how if change is constant, you need to be able to adapt to it, right? You need to be able to um, uh, just be constantly aware that what even though you have these 5-year plans set out, there can be changes that can be made along the way that you will need to and have to make along the way, right? So what has happened with the pandemic and all of this? Have they had to put it on hold or expedite it, or just the companies that you've been working with?
Okay. So like I mentioned, right, this pandemic, we were discussing about that how our uh, parents or grandparents, right,
Yeah.
have also adapted to technology, right, especially in a banking industry where they
Mm,
were totally relying on branches for
mm,
all their banking transaction needs, right.
yeah.
Now they are also getting comfortable with mobile banking or UPI payment or QR scanners, right.
Mm, mm,
Similarly, in the e-commerce industry, right, or pharma, now
mm,
we are comfortable in buying, getting into a consultation with the doctor all digitally, right?
yeah. Yeah.
Because of pandemic, we don't want to go to the doctor's place and sit there, right? And doctors
Mm,
are also
mm,
comfortable in diagnosing the customer or a patient, right, in
mm,
a way
mm,
that they understand what the right question they need to ask. So the entire
mm,
industry has evolved during pandemic, right? And
yeah.
I just put a quite a this survey was conducted recently, right, by
Okay.
McKinsey and FMI and Infosys, right,
Mm,
which very
mm,
clearly indicates that how each industry, right, is has having a different needs. So
mm,
there's no one rule which applies to other industry when it comes to digital transformation. So if you look at this, right, from example, banking or insurance, their
mm,
utmost priority is productivity, right? How can I deliver uh, a more
correct.
value per employee, right? How can
Mm,
I
mm,
increase my wallet share per customer?
mm.
Please excuse me because I sneeze in between because I have
Okay.
a bad throat. Okay.
Okay.
If you look at other industries, right, for example, consumer durables to energy to healthcare, pharma,
Yeah.
technology, their utmost priority is speed. Whereas for travel
Mhm.
industry, is cost reduction, or advanced industries cost reduction, because
Yeah.
they have got a great hit during pandemic when travel and everything was like really low.
Yeah.
So how
Yeah.
do they reduce their overheads, right, and then being
Correct.
more productive? So every
Mm,
industry have a very different way of looking at it, and within the
mm,
industry also, I would say, again, going back to the question you asked, right, how
yeah.
somebody should prepare for it, and what is the
Mm,
timeline somebody should
yeah.
assume.
Mm, mm,
Again, within say within any industry, it is important for every organization to understand there is no one rule or one you know uh, one mix which we can give them, right, that
yeah.
okay, follow these 5 steps and
Mm,
you will transform digitally. There can be a guidelines, but
mm,
organization need to first of all diagnose what is the key problem, whether
yeah.
speed is a problem, or a cost is a
Mm,
problem, or customer
mm,
focus which they are losing, or a productivity.
yeah.
Within a banking industry or within say pharma industry or within a healthcare, right,
Mm,
two healthcare industry companies can have a very different priorities, different challenges.
yeah.
Okay, so that is how organization need to think. I'll give you a very good example. Again, my
Mm,
example will come largely from banking industry.
mm,
So one of
mm,
the large MNC, right, which had been operating in multiple countries, they
mhm,
had they are digital transformation leaders, right? And we were doing some analysis for them for a digital transformation, right? We realized they increased their spends on digital transformation multifolds
mm,
in last 5 years.
yeah.
Whereas
Mm,
when we look at their revenue impact on the revenue, right, between digital and non-digital channels, the
mm,
revenue, the impact on revenue had been consistently same for last 5 years. So
mm,
had it delivered a true value after spending so much
mm,
on decision? The answer is no, right?
yeah.
While I might be spending a lot on decision, but if I'm not able to generate a revenue, right, or increase my top line or bottom line,
Mm,
it is half story, right? It is half
yeah.
work done.
Yeah. 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 Or it could just mean that they need to keep at it, and then eventually it's going to, uh, help with the revenue and increase it. It could uh, possibly, unless it's not working at all, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
see, it is important for organization to create a path, right,
mm,
where they can see. a value being delivered at each stage rather than waiting
Yeah.
for the entire transformation project to be implemented and then I will measure the value.
Mm, mm,
Okay, so value, when you are doing any transformation, you should be able to foresee or articulate a value at each stage, right? Even when you're designing it.
mm. Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
important.
So what are these check marks that most of the organizations use? I mean, of course, revenue, right? That's what your end result, your goal has to be. And customer experience. You're improving your customer experience when it comes to speed, when it comes to productivity. Are there other metrics that the customers commonly use?
Okay, so I think I also mentioned about this. You can also see in this one, while
Mm,
uh, we measure speed or productivity or cost reduction or anything we work on, right, or customer focus,
mm.
ultimately how are you going to measure your digital transformation is what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
What are the most important metrics which organization need to look at when they are measuring
mm,
that? Okay,
yeah.
it
Mm,
cannot so that brings me to maybe another interesting fact. Okay,
mm.
see, this is a recent survey which has been done by an organization named Grid Infocom, right? And
Okay.
they asked the respondents that what are the five most important metrics organization can actually measure, right, today related
Yeah,
to
yeah.
digital transformation. If you see
Mm,
this, it throws a very interesting aspects of how customer engagement, right, or customer experience plays a
yeah.
critical role. 53%
Mm.
is getting impacted with a customer engagement
That's right.
scores, whether it's a
Yeah.
CSAT or customer experience. Whereas a lot of organization just take it as a number which need to be measured every year as a part of their KRAs, their
Yeah.
organizational guidelines, and they
Mm.
don't. A lot of these organizations don't work on it. And when I was very closely working with the primary research industry, right, we have seen a
Mm.
lot of organizations doing primary surveys, getting the results, and then probably uh, doing very little from the finding which they get.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure you might have
Mm-hmm.
experience as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
with
It's.
a
Mm.
digital transformation journey, right, that's the
Mm.
only way you can measure our impact. There's no other way,
Mm.
because customer is
Mm.
not coming to your branch, customer is not coming to your store, customer is not coming to
Right.
you physically, right? And
Mm.
if
Mm.
customer is
Mm.
still coming to you physically and you are doing a digital transformation, then it's of no
Mm.
use, right?
Mm.
So you cannot have both.
Yeah.
You cannot digitally enable customer and then also ask him to come to you,
Yeah. Yes.
right?
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
the only way you can measure it is probably a lot of organization thinks that if we measure the web traffic or productivity and all, that will
Mm.
suffice, right? It doesn't, because
Mm.
productivity might go up, okay, web traffic might go up because of your good analytics and all, right?
Yeah. Mm.
Whereas if
Mm.
it is not really impacting your NPS or CSAT, right, or there, it is not creating a frictionless journey to the customer, and customer
Mm.
is not going out and speaking about it. And
Mm.
in
Mm.
today's digital world where everybody is leaving their footprint about everything, right, on Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook, right,
Mm.
anywhere,
Mm.
right, it's very important to keep them engaged, keep them happy, and measure
Yeah.
it continuously.
Yeah. Yeah. So in like you said, customer experience is the forefront. It's not just about measuring it. You need to get the insights from it and put it into action and actually improve upon it, right? Or you can even understand from these studies what are the different ways in which you need to build into the strategy for digital transformation, right? So as an input and to measure the output of digital transformation, customer satisfaction, NPS, anything around the whole customer experience. So is there a framework that can be followed? What are the different aspects within customer experience that they should focus on?
Okay, see, if you really ask me, a lot of times what happens, a lot of organization look at the entire customer experience
Hmm.
as a end result, right, of all the
Yeah.
transformation which they take
Hmm.
care of, right? Whereas customer experience or customer engagement has to be the center of the core, right, of your
Yeah.
transformation journey. That
Hmm.
how, what is my customer problem and how am I going to deliver to that should be
Yeah.
the base, right? Rather than, okay, I have this problem which my branch has spoken about. Okay,
Hmm.
let me fix it, and then I will go to the customer and then ask him, did you need this? Whereas we
Hmm.
should be asking the customer, what do you need, right? Your
Yeah.
branch might be prioritizing something which is important for them, not for the customer, right?
Correct.
Which help them do a better business, but it
Mm-hmm.
hardly impacts the customer, right? So listening to the customer and revolving everything around that is very important,
Mm-hmm.
and that
Yeah.
is something is very nicely, beautifully depicted in this slide, right? This graph, which very
Mm.
clearly says that the customer experience has to be the center of every transformation you take,
Perfect. Mm.
right? It is not a right technology or enabling capabilities which you build and then you measure your customer experience. It should be
Yeah.
other way around, where you
Mm-hmm.
measure your customer experience, identify the gaps, try to fix it, and then measure it again. And it has to be the evolving and a continuous process of
Yeah.
measuring customer experience throughout your journey at
Mm-hmm.
where everybody, right, from product to services to vendor ecosystem or operations or
Mm-hmm.
workplace, right, is enabled or made capable of delivering to that experience.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it ties
Got it.
back to what we originally spoke about, right? Where technology is just enabling capabilities, right? Like
Mm.
it is not
Mm.
something a heart of transformation.
Mm.
Heart of transformation has to be a customer experience.
Got it. Absolutely. So if okay, so if this is in place, let's say, for example, for a lot of the people who join the call, maybe they have an existing customer experience program, right? They're collecting feedback from the customer, they're inputting it into and trying and coming out with the insights for all of it. Their organization is maybe going through digital transformation now, or there is directive from the senior management saying that, okay, we need to put this in place and make our way and go through that whole transformation process. I promised everyone a framework that we can share with them. It is broad, right? DX is huge. Like we've seen, there's just so many different aspects to it. But where can somebody start on it? What should they be looking at first, and then what should that flow be like?
Okay. So that see before we discuss on
Hmm.
what are the 6 steps and 7 steps and all, I think it is
Yeah,
important to understand what are the limiting factors which organization faces, right, when they are
yeah,
doing a digital
absolutely.
transformation, right?
Hmm.
And that is more about how you do break the silos with the organization.
Yeah,
And that is utmost important thing before we even move to transforming or finding a right steps to transformation. I think it is
hmm.
important for us to look at what are the limiting factors which we have, right? And for that, doing a deep assessment of self.
Hmm.
Is it because of the lack of cross-functional collaboration, or
Yeah.
because we are not able to decide quickly, right? Or it's a lack of strategic clarity, or rigid
Hmm.
policies, right? Or really a formal hierarchy, which is killing a lot of organizations' growth, right?
Yeah,
Where you
yeah,
have people who are against this digital transformation or had been against this transformation before pandemic, right? So
yeah, yeah,
breaking these silos, breaking this enabling decision making really helps. And once
yeah,
you know where you are, right,
yeah, yeah,
the 7 steps, which because I thought it's better to put it in a slide
hmm.
format, and it is so because it really helps people to understand, right, what I'm talking about. Okay,
Hmm.
see, first of all, again connecting back to the first slide, which we where we spoke about elements, right? It is important for us to align on the way, right? Define
Hmm.
our business values of transformation.
Hmm.
Unless and until we know what we want to achieve, right? What we want to
Hmm.
deliver to the customer, right? There's no way you can meet your goals, right? And to that, do we
Got it.
have our right people? Do we have
Hmm.
a right culture, which
Mm-hmm.
flourish this entire transformation, right? Which enables people to think out of the box and deliver to that, right?
Yeah,
Are we
yeah,
putting human at the heart, right, of this transformation? Again, when we're saying human, we are not only talking about customer, we are also talking about employee or any other uh, interactions which customer has
mm-hmm.
in case of human forms, right, with along with the technology, because you cannot
Yeah,
completely remove the human interaction or human touch from this entire
hmm.
journey.
Hmm.
uh, and so from that perspective, even the human impact or human touch is very important in delivering to the journey.
Yeah,
Okay, maybe a RM or maybe a somebody, right, who is there always for the customer when he's
hmm.
stuck. It may be coming in form of a chatbot or different virtual assistants and all,
Yeah,
right? The third is finding the quick wins. That's again linking back to your point on saying that can how organization can look at the value they can
yeah,
foresee, right, in the transformation.
yeah,
We start
hmm.
small, Look for
Mm.
quick wins so that you know what you are aiming at. You have tried, tested, and then you are implementing,
Mhm.
going a big way.
Yeah.
Find use cases which can have a quick impact and can
Mm.
impact your bottom line, top line.
Yeah.
Carve out a right mix of technology,
Mhm.
because which can help you, which also align to your long term strategy. Not
Yeah.
looking at a quick fixes, rather looking at a long term strategies, how this adoption of this technology can cut across various
Yeah.
processes and digital channels, right?
Right.
A lot of organizations find it difficult to do it themselves, and that is where seeking out a right partner or expert is very important, because a right partner or expert can really help you accelerate this entire path with the experience, right?
Mhm.
And that is where maybe a right partner, whether it's a technology or a consulting or business advisory, it plays a
Mhm.
very critical role. If any organization is looking to cut down their digital transformation journey, right, from say 7 years to 3 years, then definitely they
Mm.
are need a help,
Mm.
because not
Got it.
everything can be a trial, right? Something
Yeah.
can be learned also from tried and tested methods,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And then, like I mentioned throughout this discussion we had, right? Gathering feedback. If you
Mm.
are not gathering feedback from all the stakeholders during the
Mhm.
transformation, before transformation, during and post, you will
Yeah.
not be able to visualize, see where you are not going right, and you will not be able to
Mhm.
fix it. So
Yeah.
the measurement cannot be before and after. The measurement has to be in between as well, to know the impact, right? To see if you're
Yeah.
delivering value, right? And
Mhm.
once you have done all this, right, all these steps, is when you are stabilized, you know you can scale and transform. You can go big.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
while these
Yeah.
first steps might look small,
Mm.
baby steps, once you are comfortable, right, you have seen the results, you have seen the value, right, then it's a right time to engage and scale up your organization.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And with that, continuous measurement has to be there.
Mm.
Continuous measurement is, uh, you cannot say you are successful until and unless your
Mhm.
organization sees that from the customer, from a customer
Yeah.
experience, from employee experience.
Absolutely. And this is really a goldmine right here, right? So for everyone who's joined, we'll be happy to share this framework with you as well. Just comment and we can um, share screenshots on this, and we can give you more material as well for each of these different steps. But the idea here is that you can take this back and see, okay, are all of these tenets of digital transformation, is that what is being discussed internally? Are there steps that are taken internally on all of these seven steps, right? And
Yes.
if not, then the previous slide that we had on, okay, why is it failing? Because it's not an easy process, right? When we're looking at a 5-year transformation, 7-year transformation, even 3-year, 1-year, it's a long time, right? There's
Yes.
so many things that can put it on hold. There are so many things that just loses priority over time. So you can look at, if there is a hold that has been put in, check internally what is happening. Is there just the focus that is not there, the collaboration that is not there, and then look at, okay, are all of these seven being put in place? But let's say you've achieved that first 3-year transformation, right? Everything
Yes.
that you wanted to achieve is there. It doesn't end there, right? You can just that whole the digital transformation maturity, you can have things put in place, but you can always improve on them, right? You can
Yes.
always see how you can take this forward. It never ends, right? It's like I said, change is never constant. So a change is always constant. Sorry. And so how does that look, Anuj? Once they have it already up and going, they've got things that are put in place. What does that maturity look like for digital transformation?
See, if you really ask me, this is just steps to digital transformation, right? Again,
Hmm.
they have to constantly understand that this transformation is not one step. The
Hmm.
transformation is a journey. So after doing all these 7 steps, if a bank thinks, okay, after I do all these 7 steps, I will reach there, right? It's not.
Hmm.
It's not the right. The assumption is wrong. Okay, I just
Yeah.
give you a quick, show you a quick slide, right? While it's all illustration, and it might change differ by each industry, right?
Yeah.
If you see this, right, it always is a continuous improvement process. What is a digital transformation maturity or an advanced level of maturity today might be
Mm.
a beginning stage tomorrow, because
Yeah.
this entire transformation journey is evolving. And thanks
Mm-hmm.
to all the IT giants, right, from Apple to Google to Amazon to
Mm.
Netflix and all, right,
Mm. Mm.
they
Mm.
are continuously evolving themselves, and that is also pushing the entire related industry to evolve and learn from
Yep.
them, right, or surpass what they have done. So from that perspective, honestly, you need to understand that this journey has to be continuous improvement journey. They need to define where they want to reach and how they want to reach and what are the different levels they can aim at.
Mm.
And every 2 years, 3 years, they have to revisit this,
Mm-hmm.
because what I defined today in 2022 might
Mm.
not be a right path in 25, because
Mm-hmm.
my nearing industry, right, my peers might have progressed and they are already in a stage where I planned for myself in 27. Right?
Yep.
So from that perspective, define your goal, define your levels of maturity when you
Yep.
begin your journey, but
Mm-hmm.
continuously keep testing it out. Keep testing it if it's what I need, right? And for that, keep hearing your customer, keep hearing your employees,
Yeah.
keep hearing
Yeah.
your entire ecosystem, your partners, right? What is changing in the industry?
Absolutely. Thank you, Anuj. Let us know, right, where for everyone who's joined, which stage are you at, which level, and what is your maturity level as of now in the organization as of 2022. Like Anuj said, that may not be the case in 2023. So, keep us posted. We can obviously help from a consultative angle as well, to help you build on that, see how you can take it to the next level. Anuj,
Definitely.
thank you for sharing. I can see your email ID and mobile number there for everyone who is. Please feel free to reach out to Anuj. He's as you've seen today, just a transformation expert, right? So he can definitely help you, help your organization as well.
Yes.
Thank
Thank you.
you all
Great to
for
talk to you.
yeah. Thank you all for joining. Anuj, special thank you to you for joining and being part of this show. It was extremely useful. So many things that our viewers can take away and see that they can implement right away and check and see what whether they are on track, right?
Thank
Um,
you. Thanks for inviting me. I think we overshoot by 7 minutes.
that 30 minutes is our goal, but we're happy to go over, especially for sessions like this. So,
Okay. Thank
all
you.
right, we'll see you all next week on the next Experience Matters show.
Okay.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thanks, Shivani, for inviting me. Thanks, everyone, on the team. Thank
Bye.
you.